What's going on? I am Nia from Tastemakers Collective. I'm really excited to be speaking with you, Brandon. I've been reading up on you, and what you've been doing is absolutely amazing for the community and the culture overall. So thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. We're going to get things started. We're going to get this conversation moving. I heard about Beats and Bars so long ago, probably like when I first got in the industry. When I
Beats and beers.
Beats
You
and Beers,
said
I'm so sorry.
beats and bars. No, it's all good. It's all good.
Beats and Beers. Listen, Beats
Yeah.
and Beers. But no, I heard of it like a while ago when I first got in the radio industry.
Nice.
And I had DJ DNA. He kind of told me about it and wanted to get involved with it. So I want to kind of start off talking about Beats and Bars, Beats and Beers, and then telling me about the kickoff in South by Southwest in 2015 and kind of how everything's been going now.
Yeah. Sure. So yeah, we started it in Beats and Beers Festival. We started in 2015, but to go before that, how Beats and Beers even came to exist, period. Me and a previous partner I had, so my background is in music production. And
Mm-hmm.
so me and the partner, my production partner at the time, we came out with an album, and I was coming up with titles, and I was like Beats and Beers, because that's what we used to do. We used to make beats, and we used to like drink beer or whatever while we were making music or whatever. And so the name always just sounded like something more to me. Like it could be, a festival, or it could just go so many different ways. So we were already attending South by Southwest just as being in the industry, just being music producers, just doing all the networking, whatever. So I had always intended on going there and just kind of learning, like, because I wanted to do my own show at some point. In that particular year, 2015, I was like, no, I'm finna just jump in and we just finna do this thing. Like, I don't know, you know what I'm saying, about finding no venues here or nothing like that, but we're about to use our relationships that we already built from music producing and just jump in and do it. And so from there, I think like the first year we did like, it was like 20,000 people that RSVP. So of course we like, oh, wait a minute. Like you know what I'm saying? I didn't know what to expect. And so from there, we did 2015, we did 2016 again. And then in 2016, I started doing these parties like in Hollywood Hills and at this bar. And that was the first time I did something that was outside of South by Southwest. So it let me expand to see like, oh, there's a demand for this in other places other than just doing something at South by Southwest. So from there, from those parties, it turned into, we did, I believe later on that year, I did a show in Atlanta. So that was like the first like time doing a show on the format of what we did at South by Southwest. So in Atlanta, again, it showed me that there's a demand for this outside of, South by Southwest every year. So from there, we went on to do South by Southwest again, but then we ended up going to, that was 2017 now. We ended up going to Atlanta like 2 other times that year. We went to Dallas, we went to Memphis, we went to Seattle, DC, like all these different places. Um, all these different places or whatever. And here we are today. And it started expanding to all these other, types of events, to beats and brunch, to just all these other, working with all these other different companies and partnerships and stuff like that. So
Why do
here
you
we are
think
today.
people grabbed to it so quickly? Is it the word beers? Is it the word?
Yeah, I think it was had a lot to do with the branding, for sure, of it. And I think it was just an easy thing for people to see and see Beats and Beers. And it's kind of, even like I would wear Beats and Beers shirts like
Yeah.
every day, every day for just like branding purposes. So wherever I go, like people would see that on my shirt and they'd be like, yeah, I like beats, I like beers. And it would be, you know, it's just an easy marketing tool. So I feel like with the name, you automatically see it. And it's like, it's nothing you have to think about. You just automatically get it. So in terms of events, I feel like people see that and it just sounds like fun. It sounds cool, even though to me, it's not even about beers really. I'm not like a super beer drinker. And people always think like I'm like a beer like connoisseur or something, but I'm really not. Like I don't know nothing outside of like the basic whatever. But
Give me a
it's
Corona,
really
Heineken.
yeah, I know all of those, but um yeah, it was never really about beer to me. It was just a fun aspect to it. So it just represented the fun and then the two together, it just sounded cool to me.
Right. So kind of talk about what artists you've kind of catapulted into their industry. I know you kind of created this platform to give emerging artists and A-lister and B-listers an avenue. What are some artists that kind of came and performed and now they're like mega?
Man, we had Yellow Beezy for a Dallas show before, he was popular in Dallas, obviously, or in Texas, probably. Um, Meg Stallion, um, we had her, that was 2018, where she was really popping, in Texas, but to the world, it still was like, who is that?
Yeah.
Um, we had, and then a lot of times we like to go for, like, I like to have the legendary things happening at the show too. So it being like a Just Blaze or Corrupt or Trader Truth or
Oh.
whatever the case is. We had Tokyo Jets too before anybody knew who she was. I think we had her like 2 years in a row. Um, yeah, it's just, like I like to curate it in a way of like you never know who you're gonna see, you know what I'm saying, at the show. It could be somebody like, you know what I'm saying, just super legendary, or it could be like we're co-signing this person because we know who's next and we trust that you trust our opinion on who's next.
Right. Right. Cool. Well,
Yeah.
I guess now it's kind of hard to develop emerging artists through performances.
Yeah.
So, and I guess that kind of made you as well really put the thinking cap on when COVID-19 happened.
Yeah.
So, what are some things that you guys have been doing to kind of keep the brand relevant?
Yeah, so right now, I mean, we're doing a number of things. One of the main things we're doing, and I got to do it after we get done, actually, we do this at home series where we just feature like different artists, different executives, and stuff like that. People that a lot of people may not know outside of the artists, whatever, but they have like these interesting roles within the industry. And so I look at it, the platform, as a way to also educate these emerging artists or artists that are, on the come up or whatever, or just want advice or whatever. So we have like these interesting conversations where it's just me and that person on live, and we're both, having a drink or whatever, and it's just like a conversation, a little bit more relaxed than like your formal interview, but we try to make sure we have like some really good and interesting guests. And like this past weekend in my hometown, Flint, Michigan, we just did a back to school drive.
Oh yeah, I was going to talk about that.
Yeah. So we partnering with she's almost like a brand ambassador for the city. She goes by Little Miss Flint. She's 13, I believe, but she's gained like all this national attention because when like the whole water crisis and things like that started, but she's gained all this national attention. So we partnered with her and we gave away, I think it was like 500 book bags and like just all types of like hair supplies, free haircuts, like it was, a bunch of stuff. So stuff like that, just partnering with like different organizations and doing like community things is more so the lane now. Because like you said, shows are canceled, but we're finding those other lanes to kind of dwell in now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's really
Yeah.
dope. That's dope. I was gonna talk about that. Is that the same as Beats and Books?
Um. Yeah. Sort of. Um. And it's just like it goes back and forth between Beats and Beers and Beats and Books. A lot of Beats and Books stuff is kind of done in Georgia because that's where my other partners live at. And this would have been done under Beats and Books, but I feel like Beats and Beers also hadn't really done no events this year, so I kind of just curated it as it was a Beats and Beers event. And I figured since Beats and Beers does so many different things, especially here within the community, I felt like it would be a good look for Beats and Beers to be the one that's doing this particular give back.
How do you create events um, within an educational sector with the brand name beers in it?
Great question. So I talk about this all the time. Um, so I originally came up with the name Beats and Books because I was getting a lot of pushback with the name Beats and Beers, just like in those different types of sectors, and people wondering like, how are you partnering with like organ donating like companies and stuff like that with the name with beers in the name. But I felt like I spent so much time building up track record and people really recognizing that it's really not about beers and people just trusting like my whether it's marketing ability, branding ability, or whatever the case is, they just know that he's going to do it with such a class that the whole beer thing becomes a minor part of what we're doing. So I feel like I just built up a reputation and people just now trust it. And if we have to use, Beats and Books, I mean, that's okay too. But I really came up with that. So it's like, okay, if you turn me down here, we can come through the door with Beats and Books. It's all right. We got something to cover all angles.
Okay, okay. We'll talk about Beats and Books and what's the difference and kind of what's the goal for Beats and Books.
Yeah. So Beats and Books is basically where we do like most of like the educational stuff at. So it's basically like music education stuff. So we do like panels and um we did the first one at Morehouse, I think it was, in Atlanta. And we've done like a couple more things. We even have like a curriculum that's like in a high school in Georgia as well. So it's just those different educational pieces. I mean, these kids are making money from YouTube and just all these different types of career lanes that they're not teaching about necessarily in the traditional school setting. But these are real careers and people are making real money. So it's it's just a lane that we kind of took on to just educate, not even just, kids, but even it's adults as well. Like we do a lot of stuff that's adult driven, that's just educating people on the music industry.
Cool. I love it. I like that. I love stuff like that. I
Thank you.
love when we can take our real life experience, create curriculums, and bring it back into the school systems.
Exactly.
They need to learn the most real life as most as
No, seriously, and I didn't have anybody to like guide me or tell me like to do this or not to do this or whatever the case is. So
right. So tell me, out of everything that you're doing right now, what um, regarding the entire entertainment lifestyle industry, what do you think that you're fulfilling in the industry with everything that you have going on?
man, I think it's like style and like class and mixed with fun. Um, because that's always my thing. Like we can go to whatever like club or whatever and we'll probably have fun. but I like to make it an experience, and it's like a cool thing. I feel like we bring the cool to it. So it's like you go in, you never know who you going like who you might see, who you can like network with. I always like to make everything a networking experience. And I just like to create the environment that I like to be in, which is I like to be in there and meet, you know what I'm saying, whoever I can meet. And I kind of always like to be like productive. Like that's always my thing. So if I can mix productive and fun, then that's like the perfect environment for me. And so that's what I always like to create with our events.
All right, cool, 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 cool. So I always like to end the interviews like with this question because after Andre Harrell passing, I think that some people like to make the legacy for you. So I
Right.
always like to ask, what is the legacy that you're trying to leave, and something that you always want to be remembered for?
Man, I want people to remember me obviously for the community aspect, and that he just didn't uh he just it wasn't about being a promoter or just anything like that. It was like no, he actually cared about the culture. It was he was a staple in the culture. He created these experiences that lasted with people, you know what I'm saying, forever. Put people on stages that would have never been on stage together, you know, um, and these just undeniable, just great experiences. He put organizations together that wouldn't have never been together. He made history, you know what I'm saying? Like, period. And people, like I said, people always ask, because we did last year, I did this thing with, it's a school called Kettering University. It's one of the top engineering schools in the country. And they're traditional, like engineering schools, straight up, like, I mean, if you want to find, you know what I'm saying, the nerdest of nerds, like this is that school. And so they don't do anything, you know what I'm saying, like this. Is not like, you know, they're just into all these big parties and everything like that. It's mostly, you know, curriculum focused. And so we curated their 100th year celebration, and people were like amazed by that. Like they pair with, you know what I'm saying, a brand like mine. And that's the type of things I want to do. Like I want to break the rules, or what people say are the rules, rather, break the rules and just leave a legacy where, you know, we made history.
I love it. I love it. And
Yeah.
leave us with.
Um, no, I'm good, man. I appreciate you. I'm definitely looking forward to, you know, when it all comes out. Um